was gonna say, you're not recording, are you?
No, now I am. So be quiet. All right, there is your question that was sent to me. And I'm going to pull up the whiteboard while y'all are writing it down.
Yeah, those brains sometimes.
Well, those are test questions right there. Those are test questions. Those are the ones I give you on the test. Tell you that right now. I do that because I want you all to what? Fail. So I'm not going to give you a bunch of easy questions. I'm going to give you the hard questions so you'll fail. So you go to your handy dandy for 5.1 material, you type in 30, 40, 50, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. 2 will go into 15, 30, 15 times, 20, and 25. 5, 3, 4, 5. Real math stops. We don't care about that number, but 10 is the biggest number that will go into all three. But we don't care about that. So we're going to keep going. 3, 1, 4, 5. 5, 1, 4, 1. 2, 1, 2, 1. And 2, 1, 1, 1. So here is our common denominator. Now the good thing about this is there's tens in there. Now what's good about tens? 0. You can multiply any number by 10 and you can do it in your head. 27 times 10, 207. 2,150 times 10 is 21,500. All you gotta do is add a 0. So what you do is you take this 10, I'm going to highlight this 10, hold on. I'm going to highlight this 10, and I'm going to highlight this 10. Well, what's 10 times 10? 100. So all you got to do is multiply 2 times 3, which is what? So what is the common denominator of these three denominators? 600. So I'm going to rewrite it, because some people like to do it this way. 1 over 30 minus 3 over 40 minus 13 over 50. Put my 600 here. Put my 600 here. And put my 600 here. Put a minus here, a minus here. Now how many times will 30 go into 600? We'll go over here and cover up the 30. 3 times 10, cover that up. How many times? 10 times 2 is what? 20. 20 times 1 is what? How many times will 40 go into 600? Go over here and take off the 40. Well, 40 is going to be 4 times 100, right? Or 4 times 10. So we don't have a 4, but we got a 10 right here. And we got a 4 right here. How many times? 3 times 5 is 15 times 3 is about 45.
45.
And 50 will be 5 times 10. So here's your 10, here's your 5. That leaves 3 times 4 is how much? 3 times 4 is how much? 12. 12 times 13, 12 times 12 is 144. Add another 12 to it is a what? 156, I think. Now, if you are right now saying, where do you get 156? Then your math skills suck, and you need to work on it. Okay? And you're saying, okay, I said 13 times 12, and you did it on paper, and you got 156, and they don't suck. But if you're having trouble with doing 40 into 600, then you need to pay attention to what I'm doing over here, and then you'll say, okay, I did 15. 15 times 3 is 45. You shouldn't have problems with that, because you've been in pre-algebra now for 1 and in this class, unless you're depending on the calculator a little bit too much. All right, what's 20? Yeah, just come on in whenever. What's 20 minus 45? Negative 25. So now we get negative 25 over, we talked about you way up here, over 600 minus 156 over 600. Well, a negative and a negative, if you owe somebody money and you owe somebody else money, you don't think you still owe money, so the answer is going to be negative. And what's 25 plus 56? 181 over 600. I'm going to hurry up and get this off the board so you can talk about it. I'm aggravating you. Let's type it in so we can feel good about ourselves so we won't have to buy extra stuff for our vehicles. Let's go with like smokestacks on a pickup truck. Negative 181 over 600. I got nice work. I got a star. You see where you went wrong?
I struggled with that question at first because I don't remind myself of, yeah.
Make sure you can do 5 or 6 of these. You do 5 or 6 of these, you're good for the test. Let's try nerding just for good measure. As soon as she gets through, you finish taking pictures of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Similar question. You do that one. And then after this, we'll go over 5.2 and 5.3. I'm not doing that. I'm going to write my principal, my son's McClays. I'm going to write them an email telling them my problem. Because I don't want them giving my son peanut butter sandwiches. I'll take dang Zaxby's there before that'll happen. That's one good thing. I'm glad these children don't have to suffer anymore. Have y'all tried to eat some of those lunches that they eat now? It's nasty. And when I was growing up at Varenus, I would like steal everybody's food because nobody would eat their food, and I loved it because it was good food. And so what I'm trying to tell you is I'm not one of those people that turn down food just because it don't look good. I eat because I don't want to starve, okay? And turnip greens after 2 or 3 days. Y'all know that, don't you? When you get hungry enough, you'll eat whatever's put in front of you. And that's the way I was raised. So I went to school with my son a couple of times. I will not eat that food. Now, a lot of people say, well, Hubert, it's good for you. No, the food that I'm talking about, the food had no taste. It was bland. And no kid wants to eat that. Now, I'm not saying giving them Big Macs, but just give them the food that we were raised on. Yeah. Make them chocolate oatmeal cookies. Oh, God, I love them. Oh, my gosh. I wish I could make those. I ain't never found a recipe I liked. But they were all, and then they would take a pear and put some mayonnaise in the pear, a little drop of mayonnaise, and put cheese on top of it. And I love that. Y'all ever had that? What's wrong with that? Listen, have you tried their pizza? It's made with like whole grain dough, and it tastes like ketchup for pizza sauce. And then they give you a couple of pepperonis on it and a little bit of cheese.
And yet, they gave us carrots and they cut the carrots up and not even what they did.
So what about the kids who only are able to eat at school and they don't really eat at home?
They get nothing.
That's awful.
Listen, my kid, when I go up there to eat, he gets Zaxby's. Because I'm not going to eat that food. And those lunch ladies can fix whatever they want. The lunch ladies, they know how to cook. But they're, don't even get me started. I gotta write her an email.
Yeah, like I said, I used to complain about this, it's so much cheaper for them to do that than me to buy 3 kids lunch. Until I went to my son's elementary school at, breakfast, was within my.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't, I haven't. I don't know what that. As much as I pay in taxes, they ought to be really good.
Okay. Now this one is about the same, but if you can do this one and do the previous one and go to either the homework or study plan and pick out several more of these, then you'll be good to go. So 40, 50, and 60. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. 2, 20, 25, 30. 5, 4, 5, 6. 2, 2, 5, 3. 2, 1, 5, 3, 5, 1, 1, 3, and 3, 1, 1, 1. And what's a good thing to have? These 10s right here, because you multiply anything times 10. So what's 3 times 2? Times 100? 600 again. So 1 over 40 minus 7 over 50 minus 11 over 60. And that's going to give us 600, 600, and 600. How many times will 60 go into 600? 10 times 11 is 110, right? How many times will 50 go into 60? How much? Yeah, 12. 12 times 7 is 84. And how many times will 40 go into 60 or 600? 15 times 1 is, and just follow the Z. Now, what's 15 minus 84? I have no idea. What is it, 69? I have no idea. Somebody help me out. I'll do it. 84, 15. 14 minus 5 is 9. 7 minus 1, 69. So negative 69 over 600 minus 110 over 600. And if you owe somebody money and you owe somebody else money, you owe money. And what's 69 and 110? 179? So the answer should be 179. And that's how you do those type problems. So work them. If you have a problem, send them back. We'll go over them whatever time y'all come back. I'm not. I'm just doing the answer. Negative 179 over 600. Fantastic. Okay. Anybody got questions on that? And like I said, if you can do 3, then of course you can do 2. If there's only 2 denominators, you can do 2 or 3 of these 3 denominators, then you should be able to knock out the 2 denominators without any problem. Okay. You got that one now?
Yeah, I took that.
Okay. All right. So that's 2 homework problems over a question. You got that done. Hopefully that'll help you. And knock this out. And now let's go to 3.2. Well, I ain't got to go to 3.2. I'll tell you what 3.2 covers. 3.2 covers integers. Dang old positives and negatives. There's only one rule that you have to remember with positives and negatives. Well, adding and subtracting, one rule. Adding and subtracting integers. There's 2 things that are important to people. What are they? Time and money. And if you think of money, if you think of money when you're talking about integers and adding and subtracting integers, then you won't have any trouble. In accounting, what does negative mean? You owe. What does positive mean?
Surplus.
You have in your pocket. So just remember that. Period. And the only other thing you have to remember about adding and subtracting is if you have 2 negatives that are mashed together, they turn into a what? That's the only 3 laws that you have to remember. -2 plus a -6. You owe $2. You owe $6. I'm sorry, but I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. If you owe somebody money and you owe somebody else money, you don't come out with having money. You come out with owing. Okay? If you owe your sister $200 and you owe your brother $300, there's no way that you're going to come out of this interaction with having money in your pocket. So the answer, when you have owe and owe, what's your answer going to be? You owe. You owe $8. There's no other way to explain positives and negatives except for money. And if you say money's not important to you, that's a bunch of bull. Because you got to have money to pay your what? Pay your bills. -4 minus a -2. What did I tell you about two negatives together? Turns into a what? Now I've got, you owe 4 and you have 2. Now if you owe $4 to Walmart and you have 2 in your pocket, you give them that 2, do you walk out of the store? No, because you still what? So how you write O2? -2. Seven minus 14. This is understood. Nothing's in front of it. This is to be what? A positive. So that means you have $4. You have $7. And what does this mean? You owe 14. What's the outcome of this transaction? You still owe what? Now tell me why people can't do adding and subtracting in English. Because they're given so many rules that they can't remember the rules. But all you got to remember is money. That's it. With adding and subtracting, all you got to remember is money. What about multiplication and division? Well, multiplication and division is so simple, you really don't even have to write it down. All you got to remember is a pair of jumper cables. You ever jumped off a car before? Please tell me if you have. I don't want to know if you haven't, because that means that your parents let you down. What? You jumped off a car before? What happens if you cross the colors? You get sparks, right? If you cross the jumper cables, you get sparks. Well, see, red is negative, black is positive, or vice versa. Red's positive, is whatever you want to call it. So, with multiplication, all you got to remember is those jumper cables. Let's say that you're jumping off a car, and you're jumping it off of somebody's truck. And you got the jumper cables on that person's truck. And their jumper cable, the red is on the positive, and the black is on the negative. Well, let's say you just say the heck with it, and you just put the opposite on the other vehicle. You put the black on the positive and the red on the negative. What's going to happen when you do that? It's going to give you so much of a spark that you're going to throw the thing down and take off running. Okay? I'm not talking about a little bitty spark. I'm talking about, okay, it's going to be, you're going to throw it down and you're going to take off running. Why? Because you just mixed the what? You mixed the signs. You mix the signs, something bad's going to happen, negative. But if you take that red and you put it, and it's on the positive on the truck, and you put it on the positive on the car, what's going to happen? Nothing. If you put the negative on the negative and the negative on the car, what's going to happen? Nothing. Get in there and turn the car on, cranks up. So remember, if you cross the signs on a pair of jumper cables, what's going to happen? It's going to spark and it's going to blow up the alternator is what's going to happen. unlike. Unlike signs, something bad's gonna happen. -4 times a +6. What's the answer? -24. It came out negative because these two are what? Unlike. -6 times -2. Well, these are like. If they're like, the answer's going to come out good. +12. Same thing with division. -12 divided by -2. Like signs are what? Something good. There you go. -12 divided by +4 is equal to what? -3. So if you have unlike signs, the answer is going to be negative. If you have like signs, the answer is going to be positive. Now, that's 5 rules that you have to remember for the whole section of 5.2. That's all there is to it. But you'd be surprised on how many different. I'm having trouble right now with my son because they're teaching him so much BS that when I teach it, and I'm teaching it the easiest way, he thinks my way is hard. And it's awful. But that's it. That's it. That's 5.3. That's 5.2. Now, and that's why I don't spend a lot of time going over it. Of course, if you got one, send it, and I'll go over it. Let's look at the first part of 5.3 because there's some questions in there that are a pain in the rear, and I'm not going to test you on it, but you need 100 on your homework, so I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay? And one of them has to do with repeating, and the other one has to do with division of repeating numbers. Yes, ma'am.
I made myself off the map of 72.
You had to make a chart.
Yeah, it kind of looks like this.
You have got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I have to make examples to clarify.
Well, now you don't. Light and light.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. Think of those jumper cables. What I'll do is bring a battery in here, and we'll demonstrate it. No, y'all take off running is what y'all do. Quick question. I always tell my classes this when I talk about the jumper cables. You go out to the car and you turn your engine on and it does nothing. Okay? How do you check to see if the battery's good? You don't have anything in your pocket. How do you check to see if the battery's good? No, not necessarily. No, the starter. But how do you check to see if the battery's good? Come on, people. Yeah. Turn on the headlights. Turn on the headlights. If your headlights are like dimly orange, then the battery's dead. If the headlights are bright, then the battery's good and the starter is stuck. Starter usually gets stuck when it's rainy or foggy or very wet. Okay? The bendix gets stuck and you turn the switch and nothing happens. If you got a manual transmission, you put it in first or reverse and you go back there and rock it. And then you rock it 2 or 3 times and it'll undo the starter. If you got an automatic transmission, you got to crawl down on the ground, or if you can reach it from the top, take a little hammer or a wrench, like a adjustable wrench, and tap on it 3 or 4 times and it'll start right up. But that's how you tell if the battery's dead. Turn the headlights on. And if you don't know how to turn the headlights on, then you are a failure and you should not be driving, and it's your parents' fault. Okay, so let's go to 3.3, the first part, and I'm just going to pull up a couple of questions because I saw them the other day. Homework 5.3. Okay, come on. And let me see which ones are test questions. I'll just go through and tell you which ones Rational numbers such as are examples of mixed numbers. That's easy. That could be a test question. That's an easy question. That's one of those questions if you miss, you don't tell anybody. Yeah, I got that one right. Rational numbers such are mixed. What are these? Improper. Now, if you ever want to think about it physically, what happens if you put a big TV box on top of a little radio box? It's going to fall over. It's improper. That's what I used to tell students. Go away. All right, I think 1/3, the number 1/3 can be represented as a repeating decimal, 0.33333. And the way that you find that out is two ways, either with a calculator or divide 3 into 1 and place the decimal and add zeros. I shouldn't have to show you that because that's basic math. Okay? If you need me to show it to you, send it to me and I'll go over it. Okay? These are proper fractions. Oh, equivalent, because they equal the same thing. You don't walk into Walmart and ask for a 5/10 inch wrench. You walk in and ask for a 1/2 inch wrench. You don't use 5/10 of a cup of sugar in a cake mix. You use 1/2 cup of sugar. Because you'll be looking all day for that 5/10 cup measure. There's not one. Lumber stretcher. Reduce. Divide both by 4. What do you get? Huh? 2/5. And you should know how to do that too. These are not the ones I'm covering. The repeating decimals are the ones I'm going to cover today. 8, or we'll see what we'll go into. 76. 3 will go into 76. 3 will go into both of them. 2 will go into, let's see, that'd be 38, and 2 will go in there, 38 over 42, and you can keep reducing. That's just a reduction. I'm not going to. Can you turn that into an improper fraction? How do you turn that into an improper fraction? 3 times 1 plus 2 is 5, 5 over 3. Again, that's basic math. You should know how to do that. Convert to a mixed number. How do you do that? Divide 9 and 23 with it. 2 times, and that'll leave what? 18. Leave dang old 5 ninths. 1. Hit your mixed number do jigger right there. 2 and 5 ninths. Is that what I said? Okay, y'all do all these. That's not what I want to show you. This one. You ever have a question on a test that you never ever will see again? Well, that's this question right here. But I'm going to show it to you because it might be on your homework and you need to know what to do. Okay?
It's a line of the 9.
Huh? Yes, a repeating 9. But they said, express the given repeating decimal as a quotient of integers. In other words, turn this into a fraction. Okay? And it's not, and I guarantee you, if this class was full, 30 people, there wouldn't be one person in here that could do this, because you never do it. You never, ever do this by hand. This is just one of those things that the author pulled out and said, let's go over this and confuse you. First thing you do is set it equal to n. N is equal to 0.9 repeated. Everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to multiply both sides by 10 because it's in the 10th place. I'm going to multiply both sides by 10, and that's going to give me 10n is equal to 9.9 repeating. Everybody with me?
Yes.
So now we got two equations, and I'm going to add them together. I'm going to subtract. So this is part one. Multiply by 10 to get that equation. Now part two, subtract smaller from larger. Okay, so larger is 10n is equal to 9.9, right? 10n is equal to 9.9 repeating. And what's our smaller one? N is equal to what? 0.9 repeating, and you subtract. Now the reason you do that is what happens to the 0.9s repeating? They go away. Because what's 0.9 repeating minus 0.9 repeating? 0. You with me?
Yes.
And then that's 9.0. And then what's 10 minus 1? What? No. Now we got 9n is equal to 9.0. Divide by 9, divide by 9, n is equal to 1. That's not supposed to happen. Did I leave something out? You see why I hate to do these? It's Mr. Stalin's fault. No, it's 1. It's not supposed to come out like that. You're supposed to come out with a fraction. All right? Now, try this one. What place value is this in? Not the tenths, but the hundredths. So you're going to have to multiply this one by 100. 2.36, and the 0.36 is repeating.
That's what I was looking at.
How many of you have seen this before?
Yeah.
Never. Heck, when I became a teacher, the first time I saw it, I was like, really? I've never seen this before. As a teacher, I've never seen it before until about 3 or 4 years ago when this new book came out. You wouldn't.
I was doing the same thing.
This shows you how you get a fraction from a repeating decimal. That's why. You wouldn't do it. You would just use a repeating decimal to calculate it. Unless you were a math teacher. Which math teacher don't do this stuff? So instead of multiplying by 10, I'm going to multiply by 100. Now why is that?
Oh, that's, yeah.
Because this 36 is not to the 10th, it's to the what? The 100. So you got to get rid of the whole thing. So n is equal to 2.36 repeating. And I'm going to multiply by 100. That's going to give me 100 n is equal to 236.36 what? Repeating. Now subtract, that's part 1. Part 2, subtract, so that's 100n is equal to 236.36 repeating minus 1n is equal to 2.36 repeating. And what happens to the 0.36 repeatings? They canceled Hubert. That's the correct terminology. They canceled Hubert. Yes, that's right, class.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
You- That's why you're gonna fail the class. 100 minus 1 is, and what's 236 minus 2? Did Joe use a calculator for that? Okay. Part 3, solve. 99, no coughing in class. Told you to lay off those Marlboros. 99. And n is equal to, and you can reduce it if you can. I don't care about that. 234 over 99. Now, somebody take your handy dandy calculator. Take your handy dandy calculator. I don't care what kind of calculator you got. And take 234 and divide it by 99 and tell me what you get. Got it? It's a miracle. Now, those are the two questions that I wanted to cover today because you would cuss me out at home if I made you do those two questions without me showing you. My ears would be burned, even if I was drinking tonight. Well, last night I was drinking last night. All right, let's see if you can do one more. And they say I'm loud.
Should I go next door and tell them that we need to,
No. Okay, that's it. That's the last one. All right, you try this one. This is just basic math. So if you can't do this one, then you're a failure. Oops. There. It's a different one, but do it.
You want to question it across?
What?
You want to question it across?
You can or you can cancel. Cancel diagonally or multiply straight across. Either way. You can cancel the 5 and the 15, and you can cancel the 14 and the 7, and then once you simplify it, go straight across, and you should get the same answer. I'll do them both ways. (14) over 5 times 15 over 7. Well, 14 times 15, 14 times 14 is 196. So add 196 and 14, and that's going to give you what? 210, I think. Somebody check me. 210 over 35, and you need to reduce that. I'm not going to, because I'm going to do it the easy way. 14 over 5 times 15 over 7. 7, good. 7 cancels there and cancels there twice. 5 cancels here 3 times. Your answer is what? Now there's the two ways to do it. If you multiply 6 times 35, you're going to get 10. You're going to end up with 6 when you do this. So there's the two ways of doing it. Basic math. So if you're at home and you find out that you can't do these, then you should be discouraged, because that means you can't do basic math and that you should quit. I think they're hiring somewhere in Anderson. Yeah. There you go. Try this one. Division. Is there such thing as division by fractions? No. What is it? You multiply by the what? Flip-flop. So you do not divide, you multiply. And again, this is a review. 5 ninths. Oh, sorry. Transposed my numbers, dyslexia. Dang old, took my medicine this morning. Might have been alcohol that I took with it, canceled it out. 9/5, I'm kidding, divided by 5 nights. Actually, I'm one of those people that have all this alcohol in my kitchen. I have all of it in my daughter. She's in college now. She goes, Daddy, why do you have all this stuff here? It never changes. It's the same every time I come. I said, I have it that way if I need to drink it. It's kind of like a gun. This is like carrying a gun. If you got it, when you, it'll say, what is it? I'd rather have it when I don't need it than not have it when I need it. And that's the same thing with alcohol and some other things in life that we don't go into. Okay? So, I can't do this because you can't divide by fractions. So I rewrite it, 9/5 times 9/5. I flip this, and I turn this to multiplication. And that gives me 81 over what? 25. Read the directions. What does it say? So, simplify if you can. The only number that will go into 25 is what? And will 5 go into 81? Nope. So that's it. So you go up here so you can feel good about yourself. Do not have to put $10,000 worth of audio and stereo equipment in a $1,000 car. 81 over 25. You ever seen these smokestacks on trucks? Pickup trucks? You know what smokestack was originally for? Back a long time ago in the 50s, 60s, no, 50s and 40s. Yeah, 50s, 40s, and the early part of the 60s, the diesel trucks came out, the big trucks, the transfer trucks. And their exhaust came out the bottom of the engine, like a car. Well, what would happen in the 40s, 50s, and 60s if you pulled up beside a diesel truck? It would choke you to death because what did we not have in every car back then? Air conditioning. So what was everybody's air conditioning? Windows. So if you pulled up beside a diesel truck at the red light, you about passed out because it was, coming in on you. So the DOT decided to pass that if you built a diesel transfer truck, which is called a road tractor, that the smokestack has to go what? Above the cab. That's the only purpose for a smokestack. The only purpose.
So how about now?
If you see a pickup truck with a smokestack,
But it's different.
a pickup truck don't need a smokestack.
It's just.
It's for show. Usually the person that gets out of a truck like that is either bald, short, or we won't go into his third class. Usually. Same thing with somebody that puts $10,000 worth of audio equipment in a $1,000 car. Something's missing somewhere. I love that people say, oh, well, I got a friend that's got a smokestack and he said it causes more power. Not only has he got problems, but he's an idiot. Oh man, I'm gonna get me a smokestack in my truck so I can feel better about myself. What do y'all think? I think I need one. Huh? It's out there, that red one. I think it's not. Should be out. No, it's over here beside the school. I had to park over here. It's the red Dodge Buick with the Georgia tag. That's why I bought it, because it was red and black. The guy that bought it was a Georgia fan, and he had the rims replaced with chrome rims. He had them replaced with black rims. And when I saw that sucker, I bought it because it was red and black. And then I had the windows tinted, and I put that black. A lot of people say, Hubert, you're a grown man. Why'd you put a brush guard on the front of your truck? Do you go four-wheeling? No. Well, on the farm, when it's snowing and icy, it's the same thing as four-wheeling, and keep you from knocking the headlights out with the post because you slide in the fence post. But actually, the bull We got 3 bulls. And bulls, when they get up to about 15, 18, 2,000 pounds, they want to fight anything that's bigger than them. And the bull will buck the front of the truck. He's not mean, he's a player. Now what I do, this is stuff I tell all my classes. When I'm feeding hay, I will take the hay bale and put it on the front of the tractor, the front end loader, and I'll fight with the bull. And that bull will go crazy because he don't get to fight anything because he outweighs everything by half of the weight. So he just goes to town. He'll spend 30 minutes fighting with that bale of hay on the front of that tractor. And I'll go right and left, and he'll fight. And then after about 30 minutes, he goes and lays down because he's tired.
I get chased by one, it's no fun.
Well, they usually don't chase you. Most of the time, cows and bulls don't chase you because of those. That's why they chase you. But some people do teach their bulls to be mean like dogs. And it's just not right. Bulls are not mean.
Do you
Unless
tag
it-
your deer?
Do I have what?
You tag your deer?
I tag everything, yes. On my commercial cows and my registered ones, I tag both of them.
You catch them
Mhm.
on the field? I have to do that.
I don't like castrating pigs because I get somebody to do that because pigs, you gotta have 3 people to castrate pigs. You gotta have one to hold each leg and then one to do the castrate. And then you have to have somebody to hold the ears because a pig can reach octaves that can break glass, okay? I mean, it's, huh?
Without any
They
excuse,
don't feel it.
they don't,
Mhm.
but why would excuse?
We can't get into the anatomy because somebody will get offended, but you can't, they don't feel it. Because while you're doing it, they don't even feel it. They're too busy worrying about their legs. No, they don't feel it. In the cows, you ban them. You just ban them, put bands on them.
Is that a little green cherry over there?
Yeah, we don't use those. We use black, big black ones that look like, I don't know what they look like, but they don't look like, I know which ones you're talking about. Those are great. And then you have to do it all over again. How did we get on that? Lord have mercy. Let's do one more problem. Oh yeah, the truck. Smokestacks. I'm gonna get me some smokestacks. Dang, I'm gonna be proud of myself. All right, there you go. This is one that'll discourage you and get you to quit school. This is a test question. You'll see 3 or 4 of these on the test. That says negative times a positive, and then it's got divided by a negative. So that's divided by.
That's your question.
No, I'm off the clock right now. What?
Are all those brackets?
Just do the first 2 first. No. Do the multiplication first and then do the division. I'm sorry, what?
All those brackets there, listen to.
Yeah, just put, I'll tell you what you do. Negative 3/4 times 7/9, put that in parentheses. and then divided by parentheses, negative 13 over 15.
Yeah, I got you, but all of it.
Yeah, all of it together is intimidating, yeah.
I'm like that, what is this?
Okay? So, what I would do is just do it step by step. Negative 3/4 times 7/9. And I'd put that in brackets like that. And then divided by, do you need to divide by a fraction or go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal?
No, that's,
Multiply by negative 15 over 13. Now let's focus on this. What's negative times a positive? So your answer is going to be negative. And the 3 and the 9 will go out. 3 and 1. So 7 over what? 7 over 12 times negative 15 over 13. Now, what's the negative times the negative? So your answer is going to be a positive. So you go out here, you put positive here. So that way you ain't going to worry about the negative. Now, 12 and 15 is divisible by what? 3. So 3 will go into 12 4 times, and 3 will go into 15 5 times. And what is 7 times 5? 35 over 4 times 13 is, I think it's 52. So the answer is 35 over 52. And if you can do those, and you can do the problems with 2 or 3 operations, like I told you, the adding and subtracting 3, and then multiplying and dividing 3, the more the better on my test. If there's one with 4, you better do it a couple of times because it's going to be on the test. 3 or 4 will be on the test before 2 will. Okay? Question, gripe, complaint. All right, I'm going to cut her off. That's 3 sections for y'all, and that's enough homework for y'all to chew on for the weekend. Yeah, hour and a half usually.